I never thought my life would take such a turn after losing my mother. Her funeral felt like the final blow that shattered the only sense of peace I had left. My father, a wealthy man with a dangerous addiction to gambling and drugs, didn't waste time. He remarried almost immediately, and that's how my stepmom walked into our lives. At first, I didn't know how to feel about her. She was young, far younger than my father, and honestly, I thought she was just there because of his money. But as days turned into weeks, something changed. She became my companion, my only friend. She carried herself with a kind of gentleness that reminded me of my late mother, though she was different in every way. She laughed with me. She asked about my day. She noticed when I was quiet. It felt like she filled a void I thought would never be healed. But as time passed, my father's true colors bled through even more. He didn't treat her with love or respect.
What do you mean you don't know where it is? You were the last one to have it!
His words were sharp, his temper short, and his actions careless. More often than not, I would hear muffled sobs at night, and when she couldn't hold it in anymore, she would come into my room, her eyes swollen with tears, her body trembling. I always comforted her. I didn't know what else to do. I'd wrap her in a blanket, sit beside her, and let her cry. Sometimes I held her until she fell asleep, and the more it happened, the closer we became. But with that closeness came confusion, feelings I didn't fully understand, feelings I didn't want to have. She was beautiful, close to me in age, and there were moments when her vulnerability melted something deep inside me. I knew it wasn't right. I knew I had to put some distance between us. One night, everything changed. My father and stepmom got into a heated argument. I couldn't hear the words, but the shouting was enough to shake the walls. Then suddenly, silence. Minutes later, the door to my room opened, and there she was. Her face was pale, streaked with tears. Without saying a word, she slipped inside and closed the door behind her. I stood up immediately, worried. She didn't say anything, just collapsed onto my bed. I grabbed a duvet and covered her, then took the floor for myself. Hours passed. The night grew colder, and I was shivering on the hard ground. That's when I felt her hand reach for mine. She whispered, "Come to the bed, please." I hesitated. I knew how I felt about her, and the last thing I wanted was to cross a line. But the cold was unbearable, and she was pleading. So I got up and lay on the edge of the bed, careful to keep distance. But in the middle of the night, I felt her move closer. Her arms wrapped around me, her chest pressed against my back. My heart was racing, but I stayed still, frozen between desire and fear. I couldn't let this continue, so I whispered her name. That's when everything spilled out. She admitted it, that she had fallen for me, that if there was any way, she'd rather be with me than with my father, that my kindness, my care, and my attention had been the only thing keeping her alive. I thought she was joking, or maybe drunk, but she wasn't. She was dead serious. I turned around and held her tight, not out of desire, but out of desperation to calm her. I told her softly that life doesn't work like that. That reality is harsh, and love isn't meant to be born out of pain and brokenness. She went silent. Then she apologized. She told me she just couldn't hold it in anymore. That confession was eating her alive. We lay there in silence after that. I thought maybe things would go back to normal in the morning. But what I didn't know was that the truth had already found its way into the light. Unbeknownst to us, my father had been listening. That night, after throwing her out of their room, he had followed her. He hid in the corner of my room, silently, while we talked. He heard every word. And somewhere between his guilt and exhaustion, he fell asleep in that corner. When I woke up the next morning, the first thing I saw was my father sitting up, staring at us. My heart dropped. My stepmom gasped. I expected rage, violence, the end of everything. But instead, something I never imagined happened. My father broke down. He apologized. Not just for what happened that night, but for everything. For how he treated my late mother,
I am so
for how he
sorry,
disrespected his new wife, for the pain he
Please
caused
forgive
me. He admitted his addictions had destroyed not just his fortune, but his humanity. He begged us both for forgiveness. That moment, it felt unreal. My stepmom held my father's hands and forgave him. I sat there, speechless, as tears streamed down his face. That day marked the beginning of change. My father sought help for his addictions. He treated my stepmom with love and respect from then on. And my stepmom? She turned that night into a turning point, not a mistake. From then, she truly became my mother. Not by blood, no, but by love. And as for me, I learned something powerful. Sometimes life places you in situations that test your boundaries, your morals, your emotions. But if you choose respect, compassion, and truth, even the darkest nights can lead to a sunrise you never expected. I will never forget that night. It started with pain, confusion, and fear, but it ended with forgiveness, healing, and transformation. And to this day, I thank God for the lesson it taught me. That family isn't about perfection. It's about forgiveness, respect, and love that rises above brokenness.